It's that common frustration, isn't it? You work hard, you watch what you eat, but those last few stubborn pounds they won't shift easily. Or maybe they do, then they come right back.
Oh, absolutely. It feels like this metabolic battleground sometimes. And it gets even trickier when fat seems to settle in specific spots, maybe due to genetics or even things like scar tissue.
Exactly. Which is why today we're doing a deep dive into something that's gained global popularity as a different approach: liquid lipo. It's a non-invasive, topical cosmetic gel for body contouring.
Right, moving away from the more traditional, often surgical methods.
So our mission here is to really unpack the claims. We want to look at the unique science behind it, this five-phase chemical process they talk about.
And distinguish that claim, fat dissolution versus just temporary water loss.
Yes. And also understand how it fits into professional beauty treatments, the training involved. But critically, we're zeroing in on why hydration drinking water is apparently the absolute key to making it work.
Hmm. And the context is important to start with. This wasn't just cooked up as another beauty trend.
No, it came from somewhere quite specific, didn't it?
Yeah, the creator, Kirsty Kiki Smith, she was an award-winning science student, later became a VTCT qualified teacher. But the initial push, well, it came from a real need.
That's the interesting part of the backstory. It started from trying to help people dealing with lymphedema after cancer.
And also the founder's own struggles with endometriosis, and specifically trying to deal with fat that gets trapped behind scar tissue. Very localized, stubborn stuff.
So it was born from targeting those really specific, hard-to-shift fat deposits, not overall weight loss per se.
Precisely. And they did some early trials, apparently. Between 2018 and 2020, the sources say over 3,000 customers tried the formula.
And the results?
The claim is 95% showed measurable inch loss after about 5 days or maybe 4 weekly sessions.
Okay, measurable inch loss from a gel. That's a bold claim. How did they back that up?
Well, later on, in 2022, they apparently validated these results using STIKU 3D body scanning. You see those in high-end clinics sometimes.
Well, right, the STIKU scanner. So that shifts it from just someone feeling slimmer to, actual objective data. Which brings us to the big question. How? How does a gel claim to do that?
Exactly. Let's break down the mechanism they propose. First off, Liquid Lipo is strictly defined as a cosmetic topical gel.
Meaning it's not medicine, it doesn't diagnose or treat disease.
Correct. And it targets subcutaneous fat. That's the layer of fat sitting just within the skin layers, not the deeper visceral fat.
And when you put it on, what happens? People report a sensation.
Yeah, a distinct, cool, tingling feeling on the skin. The company describes this as a controlled chemical reaction starting.
Okay, a chemical reaction. But the core claim, the really important bit, is that this isn't just squeezing water out like a basic clay wrap might do.
Right, because with water loss, the inches bounce back pretty much as soon as you rehydrate. They argue this is different because it targets the fat cell itself.
So here's where we need to get clear on the science part. The claim is the gel triggers a process making the fat cell membrane permeable. What does that actually mean in simple terms?
Think of the fat cell membrane like a sealed bag holding the fat, the triglycerides. Normally, it's locked up tight.
Okay.
The gel supposedly creates temporary little openings, like tiny doors, in that bag.
So it doesn't destroy the cell, just
Yeah.
unlocks it for a bit.
Exactly. It's about temporary permeability. This allows the triglycerides, the actual fat content, to seep out of the cell into the space around it.
And once it's out,
Then the lymphatic system, your body's natural drainage network, is supposed to pick up those released fats, those lipids, and flush them away.
okay. So releasing the fat, not just water, is why they claim the results last longer.
That's the core of the claim, yes.
Inducing that kind of change in a cell membrane with a topical product? That sounds pretty advanced. They attribute this to a very specific 5-phase cascade using botanical ingredients. Walk us through that. Is this a genuinely sequenced biological process or more of a marketing story?
Well, from their perspective, the sequence is crucial. They use ingredients like peppermint, caffeine, green tea, witch hazel, prune extracts, aloe vera.
Fairly common things.
Right, things you see in lots of skincare.
But they argue it's the order and the combination that creates this specific effect. The process needs to prepare the area before it tries to trigger the release.
Okay, let's hear the steps then. Phase 1.
Phase 1 is stimulation. That's where peppermint comes in. It's meant to awaken and refresh the skin surface, get things going locally.
Like a little wake-up call for the skin area?
Kinda. Then phase 2 is activation. They use caffeine here to support circulation in that spot, enhance skin vitality, prepping the ground, basically.
Makes sense. Then the main event.
Phase 3 is conditioning or breakage. This involves green tea and witch hazel. They're associated with skin toning, but here the claim involves preparing the fat cell membrane itself.
Okay, prepping the membrane. Then phase 4. Phase 4 is support or secretion, using plant extracts like prune to encourage that flushed, lighter feeling, supporting the body's process of clearing out what's been released.
Right, helping the removal. And the final step.
Phase 5 is firming or tightening. That's where aloe vera comes in, nourishing, hydrating, and aiming to leave the skin feeling tighter after the process.
So the idea is, by the time you get to the fat releasing part, the whole local area is stimulated, prepped, and ready to drain effectively. And you finish with something soothing and tightening.
That's the rationale they present, a structured, sequential approach.
Okay, that clarifies the claimed mechanism. Now let's pivot to how this is actually used. What are the main benefits people are supposed to see, and how do professionals use this gel, maybe alongside those fancy machines you find in clinics?
The core benefits claimed are pretty straightforward, supporting the look of smoother, tighter skin, helping with localized contours, and just general skin hydration and nourishment in the treated area.
And it seems quite flexible for salon use. You can put it on before another treatment.
Yeah, about 15 to 30 minutes prior, letting it start working before you use, say, a body wrap or a contouring machine.
Or it can be the main event itself.
Correct. Used as a standalone wrap, maybe for 45 minutes, up to 2 hours sometimes, for a kind of spa cosmetic treatment.
And what about combining it with technology? That seems to be a big part of its professional use.
Definitely. It's designed to be paired with common salon modalities. Things like radio frequency, RF, that uses heat.
Okay.
Cavitation, which uses ultrasound waves to break down fat. Laser lipolysis, another fat-targeting tech. Even EMS muscle stimulation.
Wow, that's a comprehensive list. But you mentioned sequencing is important, especially with machines. There is a specific note about vacuum suction massage.
Ah, yes. Crucial detail. If a treatment involves vacuum suction massage, like for BBL shaping, it must be done last.
Why last? What's the logic there?
Think about it. The gel has hopefully made the fat permeable. Lipids are released into the lymphatic fluid. The vacuum massage then acts like a targeted drainage tool. It physically helps pull that fluid and released waste towards the lymph nodes to be processed out.
Gotcha. So it maximizes the flushing effect right at the end.
Exactly. Sequence matters.
We should also touch on where it's best used and its limits.
Right. It's typically recommended for areas with trapped subcutaneous fat, maybe some loose skin, stretch marks, specific zones like jowls, back rolls, arms, the bingo wings, breasts, buttocks.
But not everywhere and not everything. What are the stated limitations?
Key limitations. The gels don't penetrate muscle, so no effect there. And critically, they do not treat visceral fat, that deep, dangerous fat around your organs. Also, not for medical conditions like lymphomas. It's cosmetic subcutaneous fat only.
Understood. And for professionals who really get into this, Liquid Lipo seems to be just the starting point, right? There's a whole range of other products.
Yes, it's like an ecosystem, but accessing the more advanced stuff requires further specialized training.
Like the thermogenesis gels, Thermo and Thermolite.
Those are for really stubborn fat fibrotic areas. They use cayenne pepper capsaicin science. The idea is to create heat, aggressively boost circulation and lymphatic drainage.
Sounds intense.
It is. They're used for tough cases like lipomas, deep scar tissue, lipedema, even fat storage linked to endometriosis. But there's a big warning.
Which is?
The source material explicitly says thermogenesis is very hot on wrong clients.
Wow. Okay, that definitely highlights why proper training is essential. This is not something you just slap on without knowing exactly what you're doing and who you're doing it on. Client suitability is key.
Absolutely paramount. Then there are other specialized products too.
Like LipoTite.
Yeah, that's more of an everyday body firming lotion. Targets the outer skin layer, the epidermis, aiming to support collagen and elasticity.
And Leferon gel. That sounded quite unique.
It is. It's positioned as a non-surgical, topical approach for under-eye bags and hooded eyes. The claim is it helps drain excess fat, toxins, and fluids from that very delicate area.
Interesting. And there was one more mention, ZX10.
Right, ZX10.
Yeah.
That one's reported to offer immediate relief for chronic pain, things like nerve pain, arthritis, fibromyalgia, even lymphedema pain. It sort of points back to the system's origins in addressing physical discomfort.
So it's quite a comprehensive toolkit they've built, which again explains the heavy emphasis on professional training.
Exactly. The business model, especially as described in Australia and New Zealand via Bodi Slim Training Academy with Tanya White, is very training-focused.
What does that training involve?
Online modules covering application techniques, but also deeper dives into anatomy, contraindications, knowing who shouldn't have the treatment, and how to combine these products effectively, sometimes with machines. There are assignments, too. It's serious upskilling for salon professionals.
It ensures they understand the products, the protocols, and crucially, the aftercare. Which brings us neatly to our final and maybe the most important piece of this puzzle.
Yes, because all the fancy chemistry, the precise application, the expensive machines, it all potentially falls flat without one simple, non-negotiable instruction for the client.
And that is hydration, drink your water. Specifically, clients must be told to drink a minimum of 2 liters of water after the treatment.
Minimum. More might even be better depending on the person. You can do everything else perfectly in the salon, but if the client walks out and doesn't drink that water.
The whole process stalls. Why? Let's get into the science of why the water is so critical.
Okay, think back to those triglycerides, the fat released from the cells. They're now floating in the interstitial fluid, waiting to be picked up by the lymphatic system.
Right.
But fat isn't water soluble. It's oily. The water isn't dissolving the fat. Instead, the water provides the volume, the sheer amount of fluid needed for the lymphatic system to act like a river and literally flush that oily waste out.
Ah, so the water is the transport medium. It creates the flow needed to carry the waste away.
Precisely. Without sufficient water, the lymphatic system gets sluggish. There's not enough flow to effectively remove the released lipids.
And what happens then? Does the body just reabsorb the fat?
It can, yes. The body might just revert to storing those lipids again, potentially right back where they came from, significantly reducing the results you were aiming for. Clients might also feel tired or sluggish.
But there's a deeper issue too, isn't there? Something about cell resistance.
Yes, this is important. The sources mention that dehydrated fat cells can become insulin resistant.
Okay, what does that mean in this context?
It means the cell becomes less responsive to the signals that normally tell it to release fat. So dehydration doesn't just stop the flushing of currently released fat, it can make the cells less likely to release fat in the future, potentially hindering subsequent treatments too.
So hydration is vital for both immediate flushing and maintaining the cell's responsiveness. That's huge.
It really is the linchpin of the whole process working as claimed. And we should also quickly mention safety contraindications.
To point, who shouldn't use this?
Standard precautions apply. Pregnancy, breastfeeding, active cancer, significant kidney or liver problems, and obviously severe dehydration. Professionals need to screen clients carefully.
Okay, so let's tie this all together. We've explored Liquid Lipo, a non-invasive gel claiming a specific 5-step chemical process to make subcutaneous fat cells permeable,
allowing fat content triglycerides to be released. And the success of removing that released fat hinges entirely on the lymphatic system being able to flush it out.
which absolutely requires significant post-treatment water intake, minimum 2 liters.
Now, connecting this back to the bigger picture,
Right.
we mentioned earlier that fat tissue, adipose tissue, isn't just passive storage. Our sources define it as an endocrine organ.
That's a really key concept for you, the listener, to grasp. Your fat tissue isn't just sitting there, it's active. It's communicating chemically with your brain and other organs.
Exactly. It secretes hormones and peptides, like leptin, which play crucial roles in regulating appetite, metabolism, and even inflammation levels throughout your body.
So when you apply a topical product that aims to directly influence fat cells and trigger the release of their contents, you're essentially intervening in a complex hormonal signaling system.
It really reframes how you might think about cosmetic treatments targeting fat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about superficial appearance. It's potentially interacting with deeper physiological processes.
Which leads us to our provocative thought for you to ponder after this deep dive.
Considering that chronic inflammation is deeply linked to weight gain, metabolic dysfunction, and especially to resistance to hormones like insulin and leptin that break down in communication.
Could a treatment protocol like this one that focuses specifically on, yes, breaking down localized fat, but also on aggressively facilitating lymphatic drainage to clear waste, could it offer a complementary way to help manage that underlying inflammatory load?
It's something to think about. If the goal is restoring balance, understanding these mechanisms, the chemical claims, the essential role of hydration and drainage becomes really important.
We certainly hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights into the science, the application, and the critical factors behind Liquid Lipo.
Food for thought, definitely.
Until next time.